President Trump meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. And this time, Mr. Zelenskyy did show up dressed for the occasion.
Thank you very much.
Mr.
Very
President.
good. And I think he looks beautiful in his jacket.
Yeah?
It's beautiful. I hope people notice. It's actually very stylish. I like it.
The president also announced plans to meet with his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, in Hungary as he continues his bid. I mean, not exactly a counterpart, since Putin's a thug and Trump is our duly elected president, but his interlocutor.
To end.
We have a lot of different weapons. And, you know, I have an obligation also, though, to make sure that we're completely stocked up as a country, because you never know what's going to happen. In war and peace, right? You never know what's going to happen. So we're going to be talking about Tomahawks, and would much rather have them not need Tomahawks. Would much rather have the war be over, to be honest, because, you know, we're in it to get the war over. I think that President Putin wants to end the war, or I wouldn't be talking this way.
For more, let's bring in former CIA station chief, Fox News contributor Dan Hoffman. Dan, next steps. How do you see this?
Well, I think that if past is prologue, every time the United States talks about biting sanctions or delivering military assistance to Ukraine, Vladimir Putin is ready to propose negotiations or a summit, as we saw in Alaska. And Putin appears to be playing for time. He wants his military to carry on their brutal offensive in Ukraine. And he feels like meeting with the president is going to give him that time. Now, I think this time it might just run out. I think the president's patience has basically run out. The president's, I think, made it clear that if Putin doesn't agree to take steps to end the war at the upcoming summit in a couple of weeks in Budapest, then you'll see Tomahawk missiles being delivered to Ukraine. But I think the president is going to give Putin one last chance.
Dan, would Putin fear the introduction of Tomahawks?
I think he would be concerned. Ukraine has already taken the fight inside Russian territory with their drone capability, which, by the way, is of great interest to the United States. And President Zelenskyy today was talking about an exchange where Ukraine would give us their latest drone technology and we would give them Tomahawk missiles. But I'm sure Putin is concerned about that based on his reaction. It's been a combination of threats that providing Ukraine with the Tomahawks would be risky escalation, and then a charm offensive where Putin has suggested this meeting in Budapest. He's engaged in a back-channel discussion with the First Lady, which resulted in the release of 8 of the roughly 20,000 children whom Russia has illegally and forcibly kidnapped. So, you know, Russia also delivered the JFK documents, the assassination documents, to Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, also part of their charm offensive, and the potential for economic relations, commercial relations that their head of foreign investment, Kirill Dmitriev, has been touting. So it's all of this combination, KGB, propaganda, obfuscation from Putin. I spent years at CIA trying to see the world through the twisted KGB eyes of Vladimir Putin. This is very much his playbook.
Yesterday, we heard from President Trump saying that India had pledged to stop buying Russian oil, but the stoppage would not come immediately, Dan. And there is a Senate bill and a House bill companion that would impose penalties, sanctions, tariffs on countries that continue to buy Russian oil or energy products. Is that necessary to starve Russia from money used to fund this war?
Yeah, I think that's, it's been sitting there kind of warmed up in the bullpen for a long time.
Right.
And it would have an impact on Russia's economy, a slow burn. But I think the immediate impact would be provision of the military equipment and air defense that Ukraine so desperately needs.
Dan, thinking about what a deal might look like, do you have something in mind that you think would protect Ukraine's interests going into the future and that Putin might accept?
So if we look at Gaza, just for example, wars end when both sides are too exhausted to fight or one side wins. And in that case, Hamas is really pretty much a spent force, and they were pressured, but they didn't really have a whole lot left. And Israel really was victorious in that war. In this case, Russia has not achieved their strategic objective of overthrowing the democratically elected government of Ukraine. Both sides have the wherewithal, the capability to continue to fight. I just don't know that I see an end in the near term. Even though the president has a forceful personality and the ability to influence and cajole his interlocutors, I just don't know if we're ready to see it. And it's really wildly premature to even talk about the contours of a deal unless we see a frozen conflict ceasefire. But I just don't see Russia wanting to stop at this point.
Does it mean anything to you or say anything that President Trump so publicly keeps pushing this?
I think the president is definitely focused, as he should be, on ending the war that he had nothing to do with. But, he's right about the cost of this war, the human cost. Mm-hmm. The post-war reconstruction bill for Ukraine is going to be in the billions of dollars. And they're talking about using Russia's frozen assets held in European Central Bank to pay for that. Mm-hmm. But, I think the president's absolutely right. And getting Europe on board is important. He's been trying to do that. Germany should be sending their long-range Taurus missiles to Ukraine.
And they're trying to get Europe on board and all of our allies, Australia and Canada, to push back on China and after China cut off its rare earth minerals and materials. So there might be unity against that access. We'll see. Maybe it comes together in a way maybe President Trump can see and we can't. Dan Hoffman, great to see you. Thank you, sir.
You too, as always. Thank you.